I want to make this video for anyone who feels stuck when it comes to relationships or marriage, especially people who feel like they keep meeting the wrong people or like love just isn't moving forward in their life. And I want to say first, this is not me saying that every single person who is single has something deeply wrong with them. Life is nuanced. Timing matters, circumstances matter, and qadar matters. But in my own experience, I realized there were things happening internally that I had never really faced honestly. For a long time, I didn't really know who I was internally. Externally, I could appear confident, I could speak my mind. People often saw me as outspoken and self assured, but internally, I was extremely self critical. I was constantly holding a magnifying glass to myself. And although that helped me identify things externally that I wanted to improve, it stopped me from seeing the deeper internal things that actually needed healing. At the same time, I also had a very fatalistic mindset. So, not tawakkul, not trust in Allah, more just this passive mentality of whatever is meant to happen will happen when it's meant to happen. But deep down, I was disconnected from myself and I wasn't actually becoming the person I wanted to be. So, step one, stop rejecting yourself. One of the first things I realized is that you cannot build a healthy relationship with anyone while internally rejecting yourself. And I don't mean becoming arrogant or, obsessed with yourself. I mean accepting yourself honestly, your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, the way you think, and the way you are. Some people are naturally different. Some people are more emotional, more intense, or more introspective, more misunderstood. That doesn't make you unworthy of love. So, my first advice is stop constantly criticizing yourself, because when your inner dialogue is constantly rejection, shame, or inadequacy, that becomes the energy you carry into the world. Step two, identify the version of yourself that you've become. This is a harder one, but it can be done. So I had another realization. I had unconsciously created an identity for myself internally. And many of us do this without even noticing. You might internally identify as the unattractive one, or the overweight one, the awkward one, or the rejected one, the person nobody chooses, or the person who can't be loved properly. And if you deeply identify with that internally, your life often continues reflecting it. Now, this next part, some people might not fully understand unless they've experienced it themselves. But I truly believe that before your external reality changes, your internal identity has to shift first. So, a lot of people are trying to change their life externally while internally still identifying with limitation. You can join the gym, go on the diets, improve your appearance, force yourself into social situations, but if internally you still believe I'm unattractive or I'm not lovable, I'm awkward, nobody truly wants me, that eventually your subconscious keeps pulling you back toward that identity. And this is why I believe internal work matters so much, because the subconscious mind is very powerful. The beliefs you repeat internally over years become deeply rooted identities. So at some point, I realized I had to consciously decide who I wanted to become, not from ego, not from a pretend place, but intentionally. And yes, I truly believe repetition matters. I believe what you repeatedly feed your mind and identify with matters. I believe your internal state shapes the way you move through life. It's about really identifying what's happening internally and being very protective of what goes in, at least at the beginning. Step 3, rewrite the script. So this is what I recommend. Sit down honestly with yourself and ask, who have I believed I need to be before I'm allowed to be happy? Because you've put rules there, whether you know it or not. So this is about finding out what the rules are. So write it down. Every insecurity, every identity, every belief you've unconsciously carried. And then ask yourself, do I actually want to continue living as this version of myself? Because once you identify the script, you can rewrite it. I personally started writing down the qualities of the person I wanted to become internally, not a fake version of myself, a healthier version, a more grounded version, a more internally aligned version. And I would read it first thing in the morning and last thing before sleep, because those moments between sleep and wakefulness are incredibly powerful. They're incredibly powerful states for the subconscious mind. Your mind is more receptive, and what you repeatedly impress onto yourself starts becoming familiar internally. It starts to feel like you. And over time, something starts to shift. Your choices change. Your confidence changes. The way you carry yourself changes. Your standards change. You might even look at the same person and not see them the way you used to see them. The opportunities you move towards change, because internally you no longer identify as the old version of yourself. So if you've spent years internally identifying as the rejected person, the undesirable person, the insecure person, the person nobody chooses, then yes, changing that identity internally matters deeply. Step 4, relationships reveal us. One of the strangest truths I discovered is that relationships often reveal parts of ourselves we haven't fully seen yet. Very often, the qualities we experience in relationships expose our wounds, our fears, our strengths, our emotional patterns, and our level of honesty. Sometimes, even the things we dislike most in others can point us toward something unresolved within ourselves. And that's uncomfortable, but it's also an opportunity. Step 5, become honest about your character. So, another thing I recommend is ask people you trust. What are 3 things I could improve about myself? And also, what are 3 qualities you genuinely like about me? Obviously, don't ask toxic people, not people who you know would want to hurt you, but honest people who genuinely care about you. Because sometimes we're blind to ourselves. Like, we just we don't realize these things, or we might feel defensive. We might not feel ready to face that thing about ourselves. But if you're ready for change, you must do this. Growth starts with honesty. Throughout all of this, there must be spiritual integration. Make dhikr. Use the names of Allah. Ask Allah to help shape you into the person you're meant to become. Because I personally didn't want transformation that was only external. I realized that it needed to be internal transformation too. For example, you can use names like El Musawwir, the fashioner, El Khaliq, the creator, and incorporate them into your dhikr while consciously working on becoming the person you truly want to be internally. Excuse me. Actionable steps summary. So, just to summarize everything into practical steps. Step 1, stop constantly criticizing yourself internally. Become aware of the way that you speak to yourself, because if your inner dialogue is full of rejection and shame, that affects every relationship you enter into. Step 2, identify the version of yourself you've unconsciously become attached to, and ask yourself honestly, who do I believe I am internally, and who do I actually want to become? And step 3, rewrite the script consciously. Write down the qualities you want to embody. Read them morning and night. Make dhikr. Dhikr is so powerful. Esmail Husna. Any internal change that you, in your human way, are struggling to change, the Esma Husna will get you there super quick. Super quick. Ask Allah for transformation and start actively becoming aligned with the person you want to be internally. Carry yourself the way that you're the person you want to be would carry themselves. Do it actively every day. Dress the way they would dress. Talk the way they would talk. Okay, you need to embody this state internally. And finally, I think before we ask, where is my person? Sometimes we first need to ask, who am I becoming? And when your inner world starts changing honestly, your entire life can begin to change with it. Assalamu alaikum.